Welcome to another edition of SFBN Talks High School Sports. I'm your host, Ari Bluestein, and Emily Henning is back. And Emily, last time you were here, you were talking about Suburban 1 with Mike Samsel.
Yes.
So I want to get into the city a little bit today.
Okay.
Let's start off in the public league. And the class of the pub right now are the Constitution Generals. Head coach Rob Moore has done a great job with this team. They have really talented players with Ahmad Gilbert, Kamar Williams, among others. Talk about the Generals a little bit. Now, one of the teams that, we've talked about on the show before, Martin Luther King, I think they're the team that might be able to give Constitution a run for their money. In fact, the Cougars beat them in the Public League Championship last year. Head coach Sean Colson, very good coach. He has a great team. Sammy Foreman, a very good guard. A lot of people always talk about him. Talk about Martin Luther King a little bit.
Okay. So I put Roman at my number one spot.
Yeah, no, everybody thinks of Roman and Newman Goretti, but don't sleep on the Archbishop Carroll Patriots because I think they might have the most talented player in the Catholic League with Derek Jones. I mean, the high flyer, he's going to UNLV. He's got some nice complementary players, too. Josh Sharkey, the point guard, David Beatty, a great wing guard, and Carroll was only a bucket away from beating Newman Goretti. We covered that game on SFBN. They were close with Roman as well. I think Carroll could maybe win the whole thing. No doubt that's going to be a war, obviously a huge rivalry, but I don't think it's going to determine who's going to be number 4 because I think Conwell Egan's going to be number 4. The Eagles, a very good team, another team under the radar. They're actually 7-2 at the end of January in the Catholic League, so they're right there with the top tier. LaPree Pace, Stevie Jordan, two very good players. Now, going from those Eagles to the Eagles that you follow, the George Washington Eagles in the Public League, Emily and I talked about them a little bit earlier. They're probably going to have to go up against Martin Luther King in the 4A classification championship game. We talked about it. Do you think that they have a chance to beat the Cougars? Welcome to another edition of SFBN Talks High School Sports. I'm your host, Ari Bluestein. Mike Samsel is back. And Mike, we're going to get ready for the state tournament. But before we talk about that, the District 1 championship this past Friday night, the Abington Ghosts beat PW, their first championship since 1986. Talk about that. We've got a few rounds before that happens, but let's take a look at the other teams from District 1 that made it. We mentioned, Abington, PW, Pennsbury, Ridley's the 4th team, Penridge, Lower Merion, Methacton, Conestoga, Downingtown West, and Pencrest. But I didn't say Chester.
Right.
I didn't say Coatesville. CB West, Penwood, they're also on the outside looking in. How about that? We're going to continue on with our state tournament discussion a little bit later in the show, but when we return, we're going to talk to the champions of the Pennsylvania Independent State Tournament next on SFBN Talks High School Sports. Welcome back. It's time for a special edition of the Writers' Corner. We are now joined by Aaron Ace Carter of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Ed Marone of the Northeast Times, and Sean Lerman of WBCB. Thank you guys for coming back on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Ari.
Good to be back.
I'm sure you're glad to be back because it's been a long time. I think September, October. But, we talked Suburban 1 football at the time. And, you've seen a lot of those teams. They had very good seasons, especially Pennsbury. Well, we knew it would be coming, and, he was a great coach. And speaking of great coaches, Philadelphia basketball has a lot of really good coaches. You talk about Carl Arigale, Newman Goretti, Chris McNesby, Roman Catholic, Frank Ciola over at Conwell Egan, Rob Moore Constitution, and all 4 of those coaches won state championships, and it was a clean sweep for the city of Philadelphia. Great season in basketball. Welcome back to SFBN Talks. We are now joined by Carl Arigale, head coach for Newman Goretti boys basketball coach. Thanks for coming back on the show.
My pleasure. It's always good to be here with you guys.
Yeah, I know that you've been on the show. You were here on the web chat when we were talking about the big Roman game. That was regular season. I remember you said, it's just regular season, but you faced them again in the PCL championship, and they got the better half of you in both games, but they were phenomenal games. Thanks, Emily. I'm now joined by members of the Agnes Irwin girls lacrosse team, Kate White, Laura Pancini. We had you guys on before, and Hannah Keating. You're the newbie, so thank you guys for coming back and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Kate, it feels like it's only been a few weeks since we had you on in this spring season, and did you like your experience on SFBN Talks? What did you think of it?
I definitely loved it. I thought it was a great experience. I'd never done something like that before, and it was just great to sort of try something new.
And Laura, what type of feedback did you get? Family, friends, teachers?
A bunch of my friends said they saw it all over social media and they tuned in as well.
And Hannah, did you get a chance to watch the segment with your teammates, maybe family?
I did. We watched it as a team. That was really fun.
Yeah. How'd you like it? They do a good job?
Yeah, it was awesome. So exciting.
Did you think you'd be sitting in the hot seat on TV now?
I didn't expect it, but I'm really excited to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. It's nice to meet you. And, Kate, when we were talking, we talked to your coach, Coach Duck, about the season that you're having. And, you finished winning the Interact, #1 seed going into the state tournament. Talk about the year that your team has had.